Welcome to the Career Advantage Show, where we help you reclaim your career power and design your working life on your terms. I'm Tony Pisanelli, and each week I sit down with leaders who have faced career-defining moments such as a devastating job loss, burnout, stagnation, or even workplace harassment, and been able to turn these difficult circumstances into powerful and greater opportunities. On today's Career Advantage show, I will be having a conversation with Marques Ogden, former NFL player, business owner, and today a speaker and business coach, all the way from North Carolina, from the US. Welcome, Marques.
How are you, Tony? Thanks for having me on, my friend.
Likewise. Thank you for joining us. In looking at some of your story, Marques, you're big on systems and the importance of systems in terms of winning the game. Now, can you take us back to your NFL days and share with our audience how you first came across the importance of systems, how it was applied at the game level, where you potentially went from a defeat scenario to creating a victory because everyone followed the system? If you can share a story from that history of yours, and then we can look at how people need to apply the importance of system in the way they live their lives.
I remember when I was playing for Baltimore, we were playing one of our rivals in our division, the Cleveland Browns, and we were down, I think, 14-10 at halftime. And we were really just not executing at a high level like we should have been. And I remember our head coach, Brian Billick, talked to us about, hey, you all, you guys are out there working hard, you're playing hard, but you're not following the system. You're not doing the plays the way that we designed them during the week, and you're not executing at a high level because you're not really doing the system effectively. So for about 10 minutes, he kind of talked about getting back to the basics, getting back to the systems, how we all need to work together, how we have to have continuity. And that really got us thinking about how we would practice hard and do well with systems. And when we don't play well without systems, the missing link is the systems. So we were able to turn it around. We won that game 28-14 against Cleveland. And I just remember Coach Bill talking about, if we're going to win this football game, we got to get back to the basics, and we got to get back to utilizing the systems that we've been really working on all week here in the game in the second half. And again, when we did that, right, Tony, we had a positive outcome in that game.
What was a key component of what was happening in the first half? For example, was everyone just doing their own thing rather than following the system? And what specific element in the system turned it around, Marques?
So in reality, Tony, we just were not executing the system as far as being all working together. Like, again, people weren't doing their own thing. The timing of what they were doing was not in rhythm, right? So if you're playing a game, especially a game of football, timing, rhythm, and execution really is the makeup of the system, the plays you call against the defense. I'm offensive lineman, right? But as a whole, the offense and the defense are always going to have great timing, great rhythm, and great execution. So our timing was off. Guys weren't doing their own thing, but they were doing it a little bit slower. They weren't doing it like, at the speed that was needed. And when your timing's off and the rhythm is off, then you're going to play off. I mean, that's just the way that it is. I don't care how much you're trying to do that, right, Tony? But if your timing and rhythm is off, you will be off. So what happened is, in the second half, our timing got better. Guys were running faster. They were actually moving at the right speed. And between that and then our rhythm being in sync or being aligned, things got better, and we were able to execute. We actually ended up scoring, like I said, about 18 points, in the second half and winning that football game. So, when it comes, I can always speak for football. I mean, I love basketball. Baseball's okay, but football's my game. rhythm, timing, execution, all these things are critical to your long-term success in winning, sustainable amount of games throughout an NFL season.
Okay, so Marcus, moving on from that, we know that systems don't just play an important part on a football field, they're also very important in business. Did you carry that on in the business world, or did you forget that and then something happened in the business world where you thought, you know what, I need a system? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, so what happened is, Tony, for my construction company, we actually, when I started out, I was starting in like concrete, small concrete work. And then we ended up getting pushed into large earthwork and dirt work and utilities, which is like earth grading, digging up, dirt removal, hauling, all those things. And we really didn't have a system. And then we put one in place and the company grew substantially. The problem I had was the company did not sustain itself because my ego got so massive that I forgot my system. I forgot my people. I forgot how to actually do the things that got me to be a $25 million a year company. And as a result of my ego, see again, right, Tony? My rhythm, my timing, how I was doing was off. And because of that, it caused the system to break down because my key team members, employees, they were feeling off. They were kind of vibing off my rhythm, off what I did or what I didn't do. And as a result of that, that's when I ended up losing everything in that construction company in 2013 and having to move from Baltimore down to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Right. So, obviously losing a lot of money, Marcus, is never a pleasant experience.
No.
How did you pick yourself up off the ground?
So when I got down here to Raleigh, right, Tony, I was feeling sorry for myself from April 2013 until September 2013. And what happened is I ended up having a rock bottom moment where I ended up having someone spoiled milk and nasty protruding garbage and this horrible, rotten smelling meat all over me. And that made me realize that I was the one that put myself on this curb, on this corner. And if I'm going to get my life back, it's going to take accountability. It's going to take responsibility. It's going to take humility. Like, I got to stop thinking that the world owes me something because the world owes me nothing. And so once I had that mindset shift, I started to work towards getting my life back. Now, I'm not going to sit and tell you it was easy because it sure wasn't. But that shift happened as a result of my rock bottom moment. And once that moment really hit me like a ton of bricks, right, Tony? That's when I said, okay, if I don't change, I'm going to be here for the rest of my life. And that's when I started to make the change at that time.
It's interesting, Marcus, because that moment is obviously a catalyst for throwing us into the world of I'm a victim. And I see that when someone loses that all important job. And a lot of people stay there for a long time, years, if not decades. You were able to lift yourself up in months because you realised, hey, no one's going to come and rescue me.
Correct.
So that's an important lesson for those listening to this from a career perspective who lose their job or become burnout. Staying in victimhood doesn't pay. You need to wake up and move on.
Tony, nobody cares about your hardships, your failures, your problems. They have their own. And so I tell people all the time, if you aren't going to help yourself, why would anybody else? So you have to take the mentality, you have to take the disposition that if you want your life to come back from a hardship or adversity or a struggle, that you have to be the one that gets the train rolling down the tracks. People don't mind helping you, but you have to help yourself first. I don't mind helping people who are struggling as long as I know they're trying to help themselves.
Perfect. So, Marcus, we've gone from NFL player, business owner, and now a speaker and a business speaker and coach. How did that transition occur? Was there someone you met? What was the motivation for that career shift?
So what happened was, Tony, I was actually listening to a lot of audiobooks and like podcasts by a guy named Tony Robbins. So I said, wow, if Tony Robbins, who was a janitor at some point in his life, he met Jim Rohn, he turned his life around, he became this world-renowned inspirational speaker. If Tony Robbins could do it, so could I. So in reality, right, Tony, it was just me at that time being open to something different that I'd never done before. And I heard about it through podcasts. And again, I really fell in love with Tony Robbins and his message of, make the mindset shift, the power of the mind, things of that nature. And once I decided I was going to pursue that, I didn't let anything stop me. And again, like I said, it took me 2.5 years to get my first paid speaking job, but I never gave up. I never stopped pursuing it. I never quit. And I got my first paid job. I started September 2013. I got my first paid job in April 2016. And that began the journey to where I'm at today.
What's the greatest satisfaction that you get out of speaking?
Tony, the best thing is when I see people and they have like that aha moment, that light bulb moment that they can do something better, they can be something better, they can achieve something more, they can be something greater. When people have that moment, that is satisfaction to me, because I remember when I started speaking, it was really hard to get started. But for me, I had that aha moment when I met Mel Robbins in 2018. And when I met her, and she was like, motivation's garbage, inspiration is long and everlasting, that was my aha moment. So I love to see people develop or have that light switch turn on in their brain. And they say, yep, I can do this. I can be more. I can achieve more. I can go for more.
Isn't it interesting, Marcus, that we reach a point in our lives where it's not our own success that gives us our greatest joy, but it's how we trigger the success in others, where the true satisfaction comes. Is that a fair call as we wrap up this interview?
Absolutely, Tony, because to me, when other people are doing well, are being great, then at that time, in that moment, to me, that's what matters most.
Perfect. All right, Marcus, if people listening to this want to reach out to you and know more about what you do, where can they find you?
They can find me on our website, www.marques, MARQUES, Ogden, OGDEN.com. You can go to our app. We have an app that's on an Android or an Apple phone, Marques Ogden, or just shoot me an email, marques@marquesogden.com.
Thank you. All right. Well, that's been another episode of the Career Advantage Show, where we had a conversation with Marques Ogden. If you got a lot out of today's session, please leave us a 5-star rating, and don't forget to subscribe and share this communication with others. Thank you. Until next time, make sure you're always reclaiming your power. Thank you. Thanks for tuning into the Career Advantage Show. Visit thecareeradvantage.show to subscribe and claim your free Career Confidential Toolkit. If you've enjoyed today's episode, I'd truly appreciate a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. And don't forget to share it with your friends and colleagues who might need a little career inspiration.